After receiving anonymous flirty texts, I unmasked my 7- your boyfriend's true colors. Darling, don't be friends with that woman in the blue dress. She speaks ill of you behind your back. Darling, your boyfriend is cheating on you. He's a complete jerk. Initially, I dismissed it as a boring prank by a bored person. I blocked the number repeatedly, yet the sender always found a way to contact me with a new number. It wasn't until much later that I realized, belatedly, that every word spoken by that damp, anonymous man hiding behind the screen was true. During a company-wide offline meeting, the conference room was silent as a tomb. Everyone had their heads buried in their meeting materials. The atmosphere was solemn and stifling. Bored out of my mind, I traced my finger across my phone screen when an anonymous message popped up abruptly. Darling, I got a tongue piercing for you. Irritation flared in my heart for no apparent reason. Feeling idle, I replied casually without thinking, I want to see it. The instant my message was sent, amidst the absolute silence of the room, a particularly clear notification tone rang out abruptly. The source pointed directly to the front, landing steadily on the seat of power. I instinctively looked up, my heart contracting sharply. The man sitting in the main seat was Shen Yanxi, the chief executive officer who had parachuted into our group headquarters. Dressed in a stiff white shirt and crisp black trousers with his collar buttoned meticulously to the very top. He looked cold, abstinent, and commanding. His brows and eyes were distant and indifferent, radiating an icy, unwelcoming aura. He never spared a glance for the lower-level employees, looking as if he were carved from ice and snow. At this moment, the screen of his personal phone placed under the table was glaringly bright. The preview pop-up window was blatant and glaring. It matched my sent message word for word. My breath hitched sharply, my mind going instantly blank. As my thoughts reeled back, I suppressed the panic in my heart and looked down at the chat interface on my own phone that hadn't been cleared yet. Darling, your boyfriend is cheating on you. Stop liking him. Look at me more. Okay. This was the third anonymous private message it received this week, every sentence dripping with paranoid strangeness. Deep down, I found it absurd and laughable, not taking it to heart at all. How could he possibly be cheating? My boyfriend, Zhang Zijia, and I had been together for 7 full years, transitioning from our awkward high school days to university and now the workplace. Our feelings were stable and solid. After graduation, I clocked in at work on time to cover our daily expenses, fully supporting him as he stayed at the university to pursue his doctorate. He had a cold, reserved, and introverted personality, was upright and rule-abiding, and associated only with his lab mates. He had very few female friends. He was gentle and considerate, reported his whereabouts, and never came home late or fooled around. Others said I was lucky to have found such a dependable man. In half a year, we were set to finalize our engagement and marry peacefully. I swiped up casually to browse the chat history. The first 2 anonymous messages were even more pathological and paranoid. Want to lock you up so you belong only to me. You smiled at a colleague 7 times today. I'm jealous. Every message reeked of a deranged, morbid possessiveness that made one's scalp tingle. I treated it as pervert harassment, replying impatiently, go to a real hospital if you're sick. Don't harass me. Keep sending messages and I'll call the police. The moment the message was sent successfully, the other party replied instantly. Without any extra nonsense, they directly sent an HD video clip. The footage was shot from a tricky, concealed angle downstairs at the company entrance this morning, clearly a close-range sneak shot. In the video, the moment I stepped into the company gate, my gentle and considerate boyfriend of 7 years, Zhang Zijia, instantly turned cold. All traces of gentleness vanished, replaced by a look of icy indifference and meanness, making him seem like a different person. He lowered his head to make a phone call, his tone flippant and sleazy, carrying an excitement and perfunctory attitude I had never heard before. I bought boxes of new flavors. Meet me at the usual place tonight. Wash yourself clean and wait for me. Don't make me waste a trip. My fingertips trembled uncontrollably, and I pressed the pause button crookedly. My heart felt as if it had been doused in ice water. The chill spread through my limbs and bones. Impossible, it absolutely couldn't be real. It had to be an AI-generated fake video. Someone was maliciously trying to drive a wedge between us. Jung Jia was always late, returning every Friday, explaining softly each time that the research group had heavy tasks, requiring him to stay in the lab overnight organizing data. I never suspected a thing, trusting him unconditionally. Was he lying to me this whole time? The anonymous man's message popped up again, tinged with a ghostly sarcasm. Darling, do you still want to deceive yourself? Do you want to see more hard evidence? My fingertips were icy cold. My heart turning with doubt, shock, sadness, and nausea. A complex mix of emotions. I didn't utter a word, just sat there blankly until the sky turned completely dark, the city lights came on outside, and the chill inside the house became piercing. I don't know how long I sat frozen there, but finally, the soft sound of a key turning in the lock came from the entryway. My whole body stiff, I sat motionless on the sofa, my eyes devoid of any light. Jowie, Jowie, Jowie. Why aren't you asleep so late? Zhang Zujia pushed the door open, carrying the cool evening breeze. His face wore its usual gentle, considerate smile, his eyes filled with concern, showing no flaws. Apologetically, he walked forward, soothing me softly. Were you angry because I didn't come home for dinner on time? Don't be in a mood. Okay. I opened my mouth. My throat was dry and tight. The voice that came out was low and slow, terrifyingly calm. No. Zhang Jia instantly breathed a sigh of relief. He reached out to ruffle my hair habitually, his smile warm and harmless. I knew it. Our baby is the most understanding and never throws unreasonable tantrums. The lab data was piled to high tonight. I really couldn't get away. I rushed back the moment I finished. I'm exhausted, he explained casually, then bent down to take off his coat, naturally grabbing his backpack and heading toward the bathroom. The sound of rushing water soon rang out, cutting off all noise. I slowly turned my stiff neck, my gaze locking onto the black backpack he had casually tossed in the corner of the entryway. Throughout our 7-year relationship, I had always respected his privacy, never checking his phone, never rummaging through his bag, never prying into his private affairs, giving him enough space and dignity. But today all boundaries had been shattered. The trust in my heart had completely collapsed. I stood up slowly, walking step by step toward the bag, my fingertips icy cold as I slowly pulled the zipper. Inside were notebooks, professional books, and printed academic papers, all things fitting for a PhD candidate. Utterly unremarkable, with nothing unusual to be found. I breathed a slight sigh of relief, silently scolding myself for being paranoid, for believing the provocations of a stranger and wrongly accusing my partner of 7 years. But the next second, a garish pink color in the inner mesh pocket suddenly caught my eye. My breath stopped abruptly, my heart plummeting. It was a delicate lace pink thong, the fabric thin and the style revealing. It was definitely not my size or my preferred style. What made it physically nauseating was that the fabric was stained with dry, unknown specks. A wave of intense revulsion rushed to my throat. My face instantly paled, and I flung the thing away in disgust. Stumbling to the sink, I bent over and began heaving violently, my stomach churning and my whole body trembling uncontrollably. As I heaved, I felt a secret relief. Thankfully, I hadn't wrongly accused him. Thankfully, I had taken one more look. But then, a bleak sadness washed over me. 7 years of sincerity had ultimately been misplaced. I bit my lower lip hard until I tasted blood, forcing down the urge to break down, compelling myself to stay calm. I bent down, slowly dragged the dirty thing back into my hand, gripped it tightly, and preserved all the evidence. Bang! The bathroom door was thrown open roughly. Zhang Jia, wearing only a white towel around his waist, droplets of water dripping from his damp hair, burst out in a panic. His fine shoulders slick with moisture, his tone B-1 hinting at itself. Jowie, why did you suddenly vomit? Are you feeding him well somewhere? He rushed into the kitchen, his tone still doting and nervous. perfectly playing the role of a deeply loving boyfriend. Go lie down in the bedroom and dress first. I'll find you some stomach medicine and cook a bowl of soothing millet porridge. His words stopped dead mid-sentence. His gaze landed precisely on the pink stain on the floor beside me. His face turned deathly pale at a speed visible to the naked eye, all colored raining away, his eyes filled with panic and guilt. There was no confusion, no bewilderment, no surprise, only the panic and guilt of immediate recognition. The last shred of fantasy in my heart was completely shattered, broken into pieces. He wasn't unaware, he was just used to pretending, used to deceiving me. Just then, his personal phone, casually left on the living room table, rang abruptly. The ringtone was ambiguous and soft. Kyungsu Jia instinctively raised his hand to reject the call, but the moment he lifted his finger and saw the caller ID, he froze mid-air, his whole body tensing, not daring to move a muscle. I braced myself against the edge of the sink, my tone nearly calm, frighteningly so. Answer the phone. Don't hide. Under my icy glare, Jang Zujia gritted his teeth, clenching his fists, and reluctantly pressed the answer button, his voice hurried and chaotic, deliberately lowering his tone. Hello, I'm already home. What else do you want? Don't call me, it's inconvenient. Unfortunately, the woman on the other end didn't detect the panic and embarrassment in his voice. Her charming, flirtatious voice came through unabashedly, grating on the ears. I recognized her instantly. It was Lu Yi, the pure and well-behaved junior sister from Zhang Zujia's research group. She used to call me Sister Minus in Minus Law every day, acting cute and sensible. Yet behind my back, she was engaging in such filthy acts. Lu Yi's tone was coquettish and alluring, completely unapologetic. Big brother, you were so rough with me tonight. I'm still sore and weak. I've been thinking about you. I secretly left you a little surprise in your backpack. Did you see it? Brother? Do you like the special gift I prepared? As her words fell, the hidden laughter was impossible to conceal. Zhang Zujia glanced at me from the corner of his eye, noticing I was recording the entire scene with my phone. He turned pale with fright, hurriedly raised his hand to hang up, and fumbled to snatch my phone. What are you doing? Turn that off. Delete the video. I dodged calmly, my fingers rapidly operating the screen. I compiled the footage I had just shot, the audio recording, and photos of the evidence in the bag, packaging them together. With one click, I sent them to the public forum of his university, the internal group chat of his research team, and the private emails of his supervisor and department dean. Every word clear, the evidence undeniable. Only after the successful send notification appeared did I slowly look up at him, my eyes icy cold, devoid of any ripples. I sent all the evidence of your infidelity. You let me down after 7 years of love, so don't blame me for showing no mercy. Zhang Zijia, still dripping wet, looked disheveled and panicked, staring at me with wide eyes in disbelief. Joey, how can you be so heartless? We have 7 years of history. Listen to my explanation. I was confused for a moment, just bewitched by lust. The person I love most in my heart has always been you. She and I are just playing around. It felt like my heart was pierced by countless steel needles, the pain making it impossible to breathe. Looking at his hypocritical, ugly face, I suddenly laughed softly, the smile thin and mocking. Playing around? Using the living expenses I saved up to buy gifts and hotel rooms for other women, wrapping yourself in the sincerity of 7 years of shared hardship, while sneaking around behind my back with the junior Friday overtime being a complete lie, secret meetings at the usual place being the truth. Zhang Zijia, do you even deserve to say you love me? His face turned green then white. He opened his mouth to argue further when a rhythmic knock suddenly sounded at the door, and a low, cold male voice came through the door panel. Clear to the ears. Joey, open the door. It's Shen Yanxi. I was slightly stunned. It was that aloof, abstinent CEO, also the mysterious man who had been sending me anonymous messages. Zhang Zujia froze instantly, his eyes filled with terror, completely losing his composure.